There have been shocking developments in the court cases with Dominion voting machines. Dominion has been suing anyone who suggests that the company was involved in cheating in the 2020 election. Now, I don't want to be sued, so I'm going to be breaking down what has happened using Dominion's own words. And we're going to answer the question, has Dominion committed fraud? In the 2020 election, Dominion voting machines were used in 28 states and Puerto Rico. This included every swing state. So, if you voted in 2020, there's a good chance your vote was counted by a Dominion voting machine. As I'm sure you are aware, there are many people claiming fraud in the 2020 election, and Dominion voting machines is one area they place blame for the fraud. Dominion has been suing people over these allegations. The most famous example is their lawsuit against Fox News. I want to walk you through this lawsuit because I don't think a lot of people understand what happened. Dominion sued Fox News over four main types of statements. Fox would bring speakers on their shows, like Rudy Giuliani or Sidney Powell, who would make these statements. The fraud lie, the algorithm lie, the Venezuela lie, and the kickback lie. These are the terms that Dominion uses to refer to these statements. I'm going to go through each one. The fraud lie is pretty straightforward. It's the idea that Dominion was involved in committing fraud in the 2020 presidential election. The algorithm lie is based on the idea that software in the machines was used to manipulate votes. The Venezuela lie says there is a connection between Dominion and Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. The theory is that Hugo Chavez worked with a company called ultraMAGA to create electronic voting machines for Venezuela. They purposely built vulnerabilities into the software so that Hugo Chavez could control the outcome of the vote. After they started using these machines, they held a vote in Venezuela that eliminated term limits for Hugo Chavez. The theory is that Dominion and all voting machine software is based off the original code used by Smartmatic, and that the anomalies people experienced in the 2020 election are similar to anomalies that did happen in the Venezuela elections. The kickback lie refers to the enormous amount of money that Dominion makes from elections. Just for example, Dominion's contract in Georgia was $107 million. The theory is that politicians were influenced to favor Dominion in government procurements through political donations and other kickbacks. Now, in this video, I'm not going to say whether these theories are true or not. You can look into them on your own. What I do think is interesting is what happened in the lawsuit with Fox News. The judge in this case is someone named Eric Davis. He's a Democrat judge in the Democrat state of Delaware. He was appointed by Democrat Governor Jack Markell, who had close ties with Joe Biden. In fact, Joe Biden was so friendly with Jack Markell that he appointed him last year to be the U.S. ambassador to Italy. The point is that this court is not going to be a venue that would be favorable to Fox News. In a shocking turn in the case, Fox News requested a summary judgment, requesting that the case be dismissed. Summary judgment means that the judge decides on the outcome of the case before it goes to trial. You would typically ask for summary judgment in a frivolous lawsuit. For instance, if someone sues you and it's a bogus lawsuit with no evidence you did anything wrong, you can ask the judge to just throw the case out. That way, no one has to go through the process of a trial for a frivolous case. There is a risk to doing this, though. Under summary judgment, the judge must evaluate your request after viewing the record in a light most favorable to the non-moving party. The judge is going to look at the evidence in a way that is most favorable to your opponent. If the case still looks frivolous, the judge can throw out the lawsuit. In the case with Fox News, it's really confusing to me why they would ask for summary judgment. Why would they ask this judge to consider the evidence in a way that's most favorable to Dominion? Let's look at the evidence in this case. In the 2020 election, Fox News was the first major news network to call Arizona for Joe Biden. Remember that Arizona did not finish counting votes until a month after Election Day. So it was very strange for Fox News to call the state so early, in a move that essentially solidified the election for Joe Biden. On top of this, when people started complaining about election fraud, Fox News produced a fact check 10 days after the election. Their fact check states there was no evidence of widespread fraud, and claims about Dominion switching or deleting votes are 100% false, and claims that votes for President Trump were deleted are mathematically impossible. I want to just stop and think about this, because these statements seem ludicrous to me. They are claiming there is 0% chance that any employee at Dominion did anything wrong with the election at all. It is a mathematical impossibility. How can any fact checker say that? There is no chance whatsoever? They are making this statement only 10 days after the election, before multiple states have even finished counting their votes. I don't see how they call this journalism, because their fact-check statements seem highly unlikely to me. But regardless of whether we believe the fact check or not, Fox News said it. So Fox News put themselves in a situation where they called the election for Joe Biden, they said there was no election fraud, and then they brought on guest speakers who said there was election fraud. That is the basis of the case. Dominion is claiming that Fox News admitted themselves that they lied. I have to admit that in this situation, Dominion has a point. Why did Fox News do this? They seem like a bunch of hypocrites. What is even more confusing is how Fox News responded to Dominion's lawsuit. When Fox filed their response, they did not file any evidence that would question the election and justify their actions. Instead, the response by Fox was that basically they were just reporting the news, and they should be free to report on what people say. They did not provide any evidence to dispute Dominion's complaint against them. So what is the judge supposed to do if Fox does not bother to present any evidence? We have a case being decided by a Democrat judge. Fox News is requesting that the judge decide the case in a light most favorable to Dominion. Fox News is claiming that they themselves are lying, and Fox News is not providing any evidence to dispute the complaint. Why are they doing this? It's almost like they're trying to lose the case on purpose. Of course, the judge decided the case for Dominion, with the only matter still to be determined at trial as to whether Fox News committed defamation with actual malice. The judge states in his decision, the evidence developed in this civil proceeding demonstrates that it is crystal clear that none of the statements relating to Dominion about the 2020 election are true. I can't really get mad at the judge here. I probably would have made the same decision, because the judge never heard any evidence that would convince him otherwise. Fox News settled the case by paying Dominion $787.5 million. Shortly after this settlement, Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News. Tucker Carlson was someone on Fox that was going to continue to talk about whether the election was stolen, which seems to be at least part of the reason for his firing. What is surprising about this whole settlement is that there continues to be concern about fraud with Dominion voting machines. In fact, the U.S. government issued a warning about Dominion voting machines in June 2022. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, issued this press release saying that Dominion voting machines had security vulnerabilities that could be exploited. People are so outraged over this that the people in Georgia have been fighting in court to remove the use of Dominion voting machines from their elections on the basis that they're not secure. In January 2024, a computer scientist demonstrated in court how he could manipulate a Dominion voting machine using only a pen, a fake $10 voter card, or a $100 USB device. In a matter of seconds, he could rig the machine to print out as many ballots as he wanted. I'm going to explain how you fake a Dominion voting machine. This is all public information anyone can find on the internet. You take a pen and you insert it into the power button on the back of the machine and you hold it down for 5 seconds. This reboots the machine in safe mode and gives you super user access. This gives you unlimited ability to manipulate data on the machine. Now, I don't know what you think, but to me, it sounds like these machines are not very secure. Now, you might argue that all these machines have audit logs, so if someone tried to manipulate the votes, wouldn't you just see it in the audit logs? However, if you are a super user, you can delete the audit logs. Also, you can program all of these steps into a technician card. You insert the card, and it runs the program in seconds. Just so you understand this, any random person can walk in off the street and very easily and quickly change the vote count from any voting machine. Why are we using these in our elections? But hold on, it gets worse. That example would just be one voting machine in one location. There's also a vulnerability if these machines are connected to the internet. The machines run on a version of Microsoft Windows from 2015. There are some well-known malware hacks that can access the system through the internet. If the malware infected the right file, it could change the votes in every Dominion voting machine in the county. It could also delete itself once it was done. Even if the machines were not connected to the internet, someone could infect the system simply by inserting a USB device. Why are we using these machines in our elections? But hold on, it gets worse. Dominion is continuing to sue people who accuse them of cheating in the 2020 elections. But unlike Fox News, these other defendants are fighting back. Dominion is suing Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Patrick Byrne, the CEO of Overstock, and Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow. All of these cases have been filed in Democrat courts in Washington, D.C. But even with biased judges and juries, these cases are going to be incredibly difficult for Dominion to win. They have to prove that these people were all intentionally lying when they claimed the 2020 election was stolen. I don't think anyone seriously doubts that these people actually believe the 2020 election was stolen. The case against Patrick Byrne is currently in discovery. The discovery uncovered multiple emails internal to Dominion that raised significant questions about the company. Patrick's attorney is Stephanie Lambert. She turned the emails over to Sheriff Darleaf as evidence Dominion committed crimes during the 2020 election. Sheriff Darleaf sent this letter to Congress requesting an immediate investigation. He says the emails show that foreign nationals have accessed electronic voting machines in Michigan and other states. What he is referring to is this email. Dominion has offices in Serbia. This is an email chain of Dominion staff in Serbia talking about running a test on Colorado voting machines. They are going to connect to the machines and vote. I quote, "Let's try and run the whole test for the Colorado project and full-face ballot by voting. Why do Serbians have the ability to log into U.S. voting machines and vote?" This is especially troubling because Dominion has always tried to combat accusations about their voting machine vulnerabilities by claiming that the machines are not connected to the internet. Well, if they're not connected, how are the Serbians logging in? In fact, here is the CEO of Dominion testifying under oath that there are no modems in Dominion machines that can connect them to the internet.
And so are those networked? Is the computer then networked directly to the tabulator on a local area network?
The systems are designed to be closed networked, which means they are connected to each other in a local area network, but they are not designed to be connected to the outside world through either an internet connection or any other external connectivity device.
Does Dominion have any way to remotely access any of the information on any of the equipment or have remote access within the machines themselves?
No.
So there is no modem at all in these machines?
The only modem is the one that I described that has a very, very particular function on the precinct. And we do not have access to it, and nor can we modem into that machine.
Does anybody have access to the best of your knowledge?
No.
The CEO is lying. We have the emails of Dominion employees, foreign nationals, who are talking about accessing the voting equipment. The CEO is committing perjury here. But it's even worse than that. Here's the certification from the EAC, the U.S. Election Assistance Commission. They are the organization that has certified Dominion voting machines for U.S. elections. In this document, the use of modems to connect to the internet is marked no. If this is not correct, and Dominion is using modems to connect the voting machines to the internet, that means they lied to the EAC. This is another email from Dominion employees talking about voting machines in Alaska. They say the remaining 304 in Alaska were retrofitted with dial-up modems and received in all 5 regional offices. Why is Dominion putting modems in the Alaska voting machines? This not only means that the CEO lied under oath about the modems, it means that Dominion lied to the EAC. And it means that Dominion has lied under oath in every single lawsuit against Fox News, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Patrick Byrne, and Mike Lindell. Not only that, consider all of the money Dominion has made off of taxpayer dollars. Dominion would have gone through a procurement process based on their EAC certification. That means they also lied about the modems to obtain enormous amounts of taxpayer dollars. That is evidence of fraud. So I will ask again, why are we using any of these machines in the upcoming election? Again, I'm not even addressing the issue of whether Dominion cheated in the 2020 election. I am saying that there is evidence that they are committing fraud right now. Just so you understand what this means, Fox News paid Dominion $787.5 million in their settlement. If Dominion lied to get that settlement, and if Fox News has lawyers that are any good, they can ask that the settlement be overturned because of fraud. And Fox News can ask for all their money back. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about Dominion? Leave a comment down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. If you like these videos, consider signing up for a monthly membership on my website, wolvesandfinance.com. For $6 a month, you help me to keep putting out these videos. I'm Zach from Wolves and Finance. Thank you for watching.